There was a time when value wasn't measured by price tags, stock charts, or trending apps. It lived quietly inside homes that were never designed to impress anyone, inside drawers that were never organized, cabinets that were never curated, attics that were only opened when something broke or something was lost. Grandma didn't call these things collectibles. She never imagined auctions, collectors, or rising prices. She kept them because they worked, because they lasted, because throwing them away felt like wasting something that still had life left in it. Back then, nothing was disposable. Every object earned its place by surviving years of use, repair, and routine. Scratches weren't flaws. Where wasn't damage. It was proof that something mattered enough to be kept. Today, the world is flooded with cheap replacements. Things are designed to be replaced, not remembered. And because of that, the things our grandparents lived with, the real ones, have quietly become rare. On American Restored, we're not chasing wealth. We're uncovering it, hidden in plain sight. Today, we step back to rediscover 15 forgotten things from Grandma's house that are worth a fortune today. 1. Holiday china. It only came out on special days. The cabinet opened slowly. Hands were warned. Voices softened. Movements became careful without anyone needing to say a word. Those plates were never just dishes. They were ceremony, respect, a reminder that some moments deserved extra care. Today, complete china sets from historic makers are prized not only for their beauty, but because they represent a time when meals were events, not distractions. Collectors aren't buying porcelain, they're buying tradition. 2. Pyrex classics. They were made to be used, not admired. Dropped into ovens, stacked in cupboards, passed from hand to hand during family dinners that lasted for hours. Back then, they were just bowls. Today, certain colors and patterns sell for hundreds, sometimes thousands, because they were built to survive. Pyrex became valuable the moment the world stopped making things like it. 3. Bold jewelry. Heavy clasps, thick chains, confident designs. This jewelry didn't whisper. It spoke loudly, unapologetically. Once dismissed as outdated or excessive, these pieces are now prized for their craftsmanship, materials, and fearless style. They reflect an era when fashion wasn't minimal, it was expressive, and collectors pay dearly for that honesty. 4. Loose coins. They sat unnoticed in jars, drawers, and pockets. Just spare change, nothing worth thinking about. But tiny details, small dates, and forgotten minting errors turned some of these coins into silent survivors. They weren't saved intentionally. They survived because no one cared enough to spend them. Today, that neglect is worth a fortune. 5. Solid furniture. Not flat-packed, not temporary. Built from real wood with joints designed to last generations. This furniture was heavy, physically and emotionally. It stayed through moves, children, and decades of daily life. Furniture like this doesn't age. It becomes valuable because it was never meant to leave. 6. Mechanical time. No batteries, no screens, just gears, springs, and patience. These watches and pocket watches measured time slowly and faithfully. Today, collectors aren't buying convenience. They're buying precision from an era that refused shortcuts and trusted craftsmanship over speed. 7. Perfume glass. Even when empty, they were never thrown away. Elegant shapes, heavy stoppers, hand-finished details. Some of these bottles are now worth more than the fragrance that once lived inside them. They remind us of a time when beauty mattered, even when function was gone. 8. Rare stamps. Tiny pieces of paper that traveled the world. Misprints, limited runs, quiet mistakes. These stamps were never meant to be rare. But history doesn't repeat itself, it disappears. And today, collectors pay extraordinary prices for the smallest errors that survive time. 9. Sewing keepsakes. Buttons, threads, needles kept carefully in small tins. Tools of patience and care. These items weren't hobbies. They were necessities. Handmade details that no machine produces anymore. Proof that time once mattered more than speed. 10. Old books. Yellowed pages. Bent corners. Notes in the margins. Stories inside stories. Collectors don't just look for first editions. They look for fingerprints of the past. Proof that someone lived with these books, learned from them, and passed them on. 11. War relics. Not decorations. Witnesses. Medals, uniforms, letters. Each one carrying weight no museum label can fully explain. These items are valued not for their appearance, but for the history they survived. 12. Early tech. Radios with warm static. Cameras built like machines. Computers that looked strange before they changed the world. Some of these devices now sell for more than luxury cars. Not because they're useful today, but because revolutions always start quietly. 13. Art lighting. Stained glass. Heavy bronze. Hand-soldered seams. Light shaped by craftsmanship. These pieces weren't meant to be replaced. They were meant to be admired for generations. And today, collectors recognize the difference between light that was made and light that was manufactured. 14. Travel leather. Scuffed leather. Solid brass. Heavy locks. Bags built for journeys that mattered. These weren't accessories. They were commitments, designed to endure years of travel and return home with stories. Collectors now pay dearly for that honesty. 15. Hand quilts. Every stitch done by hand. Every pattern chosen with care. These weren't decorations. They were warmth, patience, and love sewn together. And nothing made today can truly replace that. Final thoughts. These items weren't collected. They were lived with. They sat quietly through births, losses, celebrations, and ordinary days no one ever wrote down. And somehow they survived. Not because they were expensive, but because they mattered. If this story brought back a memory, leave a like. It helps keep these forgotten histories alive. Subscribe to American Restored, because we don't bring the past back to sell nostalgia. We bring it back to remember value. History isn't always locked behind glass in a museum. Sometimes it's still sitting quietly in Grandma's house.